is Radio Free Pro Wrestling, your home for smart and stunning wrestling debate with lifelong wrestling fans Shawn and Ashlee. Let the debate begin.
Well, good evening and welcome to this episode of Radio Free Professional Wrestling. We're here to review WWE Backlash for Lyon, France. And I have to say, it was one of the best pay-per-views I have seen this year and the hottest crowd I could possibly imagine in the last 4 to 5 years. Sorry, Puerto Rico. They are better than you, unfortunately. But, man, let me tell you, I'm still running this winless streak as I'm going 0-4. As, of course, I'm joined by my co-host, the reigning, defending, undisputed pick contest champion of the world, Ashlee. Ashlee, 4-0. We are looking for new challengers for you. I am taking a backseat for a couple of weeks. I want to try to recharge, come with a new mindset, because clearly my picking skills are not working.
Well, listen, there's still going to be plenty of pay-per-views this year.
Yes, there's plenty of chances for me to pick wrong. Yes, I can see this in my future. Yes. And next up for us is a 2-for-1 special. It's WWE in Saudi Arabia, King and Queen of the Ring. Then we get Double or Nothing with our friend Kimmy Sokol, where I go 2 versus 1, and I feel like it's not going to be much of a challenge for you two.
I don't know. I feel like anything could be possible with AEW because Tony Khan will just end up throwing about 6 unannounced matches in there on us.
Very true. But we do have breaking news tonight as we come onto the air for Radio Free Professional Wrestling, as it's maybe reported by Fatal 4 Weekly. And if you go over to Adam Pearce's official Twitter account, you will see that he has announced that Drew McIntyre is not cleared to complete tonight. So that special match, Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor, is off the table, and Drew McIntyre is out of the King of the Ring tournament.
Yes, this is awful. Drew McIntyre, as we all know, absolutely killing it kind of in everything he's been doing lately. But I feel like if this is, we obviously want to keep him, healthy for everything that we anticipate coming with like Clash at the Castle and everything. So smart move, I guess, to keep him out, let him rest up now, kind of forego and kind of reinsert him into the storyline when he's healthy again.
Very true. I'm just waiting for CM Punk to come out on Raw this evening and go like, Drew, this is exactly what you get when you try to pray for somebody to be injured. You get injured yourself. Rest up, and I'll see you at Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, I could definitely see him coming out and kind of turning Drew's words against him here tonight. And like I said, obviously we want to wish him all the best, and we want him to get healthy. So safer to keep him out now, let him rest up now, and maybe even keep him kind of on TV, going back and forth or something through promos or something if you want.
That's what I imagine. I feel like we're going to see a lot more Drew McIntyre recovery videos and just promos from different locations as him and CM Punk build this feud towards Clash at the Castle. And we got our fingers crossed that he is back for Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope he's back as soon as possible.
Well, Ashlee, let's go ahead. Let's start the review of the hottest crowd I have ever seen in my life for a B-level pay-per-view. They're calling this a B-level pay-per-view, but this felt like WrestleMania to me. We're talking about WWE Backlash for Lyon, France. And the very first match, they had a great street fight / no rule disqualification match. It's the Bloodline versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. And Ashlee, we were right. We got a new member of the Bloodline, as now Guerrillas of Destiny are in the WWE. Pause. Let that sink into your mind for a second.
Yeah, I think we all kind of expected maybe someone different. Toa literally just having been at a recent New Japan show, so it was very surprising to see him pop up. And we were discussing this a little bit off air, but I do think right now, being paired up with Samatha at this point for Toa is probably the best thing for him. So this is a good way to kind of be able to expand this Bloodline storyline and get both Tama Tonga and Toa Longa in their back together, and I think kind of doing what works best for them.
I love how they're building this new bloodline where Solo Sikoa is slowly but surely taking over the group. He kicked Jimmy Uso out, brought in his own people, and poor Paul Heyman is there, not able to do a thing about it except for lift a finger up because he just want to be next.
Yeah, there's some big guys around him, so he might want to watch what he's about to say.
But I love this opening match for Backlash. This was a perfect way to get this hype crowd to stay freaking hot for the whole show. And I gotta say, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens need a tag team titles at some point on SmackDown. Sorry, Grayson Waller and Austin Fury. You guys had a decent run with them. It's time for Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to get these tag titles.
Honestly, that would be kind of a great pairing for the championships.
So the second match on this card, and it's interesting how they went through this card because I was really feeling like this may be a semi-main event or could have been the main event of the show. It was the women's triple threat for the WWE women's title. It's Tiffany Startton versus Naomi versus the champion Bayley. And this match was there to put over Tiffany Startton. Now, granted, Bayley won the match, but at the start of the show, the center of the universe, Tiffany Startton, because it's Tiffany time.
Oh yeah. The way she's been kind of working her way up through the ranks, especially the way she came up through NXT and everything like that. She's too talented for obviously the fans to not take notice, and obviously WWE sees what they have in her, so push her. Their women's division is kind of crazy right now, so it makes sense to add another star to the top.
And this was a breakout performance yet again for Tiffany Startton in another international location. And the French crowd love her as much as the Australians. And I got a feeling that we're going to see a summer feud between Bayley and Tiffany Startton. And that's going to be your world title feud going into the fall on SmackDown. But I got to say, this was a fun match and it was the right call. And we were right. Naomi took the pin in order to protect Tiffany Startton from taking a loss too soon in her call up to the main roster.
Yeah, like I said, she's undoubtedly kind of like one of their next top women. And it makes sense to kind of have somebody in there to kind of keep her protected.
Well, we'll move on to the next match. And this here is the match that cost me the freaking contest because I went out on a limb. I thought, hey, we can advance this babyface Damian Priest storyline that I was thinking about. Let's go ahead. Let's flip this title over to Jey Uso. And let's have the Judgment Day come down, interfere, screw this up, and Damian loses the title. Well, I got 0.5 here because I did get Judgment Day interference. But in the end of the day, main event Jey Uso may want to think about the nickname because, yet again, another pay-per-view where he doesn't win the big one.
Yeah, he's had kind of like a handful of singles championship shots in the past like year, I would say, and hasn't been able to quite cash in yet.
Very true. Now, this was a better match than what we saw at WrestleMania. I feel like that Mania match just suffered from the fact that they just didn't click on that night. Now, Damian Priest versus Jey Uso was a good match. It told a good story. At the end of the match, we saw the Judgment Day beat down on Jey, and Damian kind of pushed him to the side, going like, I didn't give this order. We don't do this unless I give the order. So, coming into...
And pretty violently.
Yes, like, he is fed up. It's been like 3 weeks of them not listening to him, and he's going like, hey, I'm the world champion. Rhea's not here. I should be the leader. And I feel like we're going to see the implosion of Judgment Day in the coming weeks on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, especially the way he tossed down McDonough. That was nuts.
JD has a big head, so he can take that impact. It's okay. I mean, the dude's head. I mean, come on.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we're moving on to the semi-main event. And I got to say, some people would say this match was not good. There's a lot of messed up spots in it. I got to say, the reason for that is I feel like Jade Cargill might have got her bell rung during this match as you watch this great strike combo from Kairi Sane, and also as they're using Jade Cargill like a tennis ball and just elbow from two different ladies. And she's trying to take these, and I feel like she got a little foggy there for a second, but they recovered and had a dang good finish. And what a finish, because we see Jade in the ring. Kairi jumps off the top rope. Jade catches her into a powerbomb position, hoists her up, flips her around to an electric chair position. You think she's going to electric chair. No. alley oop, catches her, jaded. 1, 2, 3. That was a sick combo.
Yeah, Jade had some we saw kind of at the end of her run in AEW, she was having some, it was like every week was like, how is Jade gonna get the jaded this week? Because she was kind of just, she would just bust them out of like the craziest reversal. And again, she it seems like she's going to continue doing this now that she's having a more more main event spot in WWE. And she is going to like, especially like how she hit that power bomb on Dakota Kai when she first came in and everything. Like, I can't wait to see like her take a jaded. Like, they're going to hit that from like such a crazy angle. Like, I can't wait to see how she's going to hit the next one.
I gotta say, I love Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill as a babyface tag team. Jade Cargill getting the hot tag, making the comeback is so fun to watch. I feel like this is how every Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair tag team match should be. Is Bianca carries most of the match. You get to the point where Bianca is in trouble. She's looking across that ring. The heels try to cut them off because they know once Jay gets in the ring, it's going to be real fast to jaded. And it's going to be interesting how they get to it.
Well, let's hope that, she's okay and that she, if she did get her bell rung, if something did happen, that, she's good now, because she, obviously, like you said, like they pulled it together at the end. So seemingly, like maybe they're, it could just be the unfamiliarity of, working with somebody you haven't worked with before as well. That also happens. We've seen that across the board. But like I said, hopefully she's fine and we'll get to see kind of the next crazy counter into the jaded that comes next.
Oh, there's another combo move in this match that you need to go back and see. It's before the jaded. Okay, so Jade is in the ring. She gets whipped into the ropes, blind tagged by Belair. Belair hits a DDT while Jade holds Curry and lifts her up into like for the lack of a better term, a wheelbarrow toss. It was freaking sick as well. Their tag team offense is amazing.
I mean, they're both insanely jacked, and the tag team combinations that they're going to come up with as they kind of continue to gel together is going to be insane.
I want to see this match again. I feel like we need to see a rematch with these 4 ladies. I feel like there's more they can do, and I can't wait to see it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I don't think like Kairi Sane or anything's going anywhere. So I think we could run this back potentially, even maybe at the Saudi show. Who knows? They've been getting the women's matches on there at least once. So,
well, it's main event time. It's Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, and every time AJ Styles got mentioned as phenomenal, the crowd just went into song, and it was so freaking great.
He's got like that catchy song, so and especially like we were talking like beforehand, like audiences that do not get wrestling at like this level, like like on a regular basis, the kind of way we do here in the States, always like out of hand, like the best. Like we kind of saw it a couple of times last year. We're bound to see it a couple more times this year. So I can't wait for some of these international shows we have coming up.
Well, I have a new favorite pay-per-view to show non-wrestling fans to become wrestling fans, and it's called WWE Backlash France. And that's all it's going to be showing people from now on, because this card was that dang good. In this match.
And we floated the idea last week of an international WrestleMania possibly. Like this seems like maybe this might be a potential international WrestleMania venue or area, not venue,
I say France is high on the list now. I think it's like right behind London. I feel like it's 1-2. Now, this match was good. I mean, Cody kicked out of a burning hammer on a 1 count, and this like channel in New Japan is strong for a second, and it's like Cody from New Japan Pro, and AJ's going like, what the hell? What do I do now? He goes for like the Styles Class. Doesn't work. We see the Cody Cutter. We see the Crossroads, and we retain the champion here. And we send the crowd home happy with a excellent professional wrestling match.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I think, a good call for AJ to kind of be one of Cody's first big matches coming out of his title win. Always going to put on a good match, but I feel like, I don't feel like it's AJ's time anymore to be champion. So kind of, you kind of don't see him taking the title there. But also a lot of history for them to kind of draw upon from their previous histories and sort of parallel histories there.
Well, fun fact, thank you, Denise Saseo, for posting this on your Instagram account. AJ Styles is the only person in professional wrestling to ever wrestle Dusty Rhodes and Cody Rhodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why when I saw her post, I was going like, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. He was in TNA at the time when Dusty was still wrestling. So yes, and this is a fun fact now. Now you can go to a bar and win a bar bet.
Wow, that is kind of a crazy fact.
It is a crazy thought. And I was like, oh, that is true. So overall, let's do this before we move from the Cody match. There's a small segment that is tired of Cody Rhodes as the world champion after a month and a half. Ashlee, how do you feel about that?
This is why we can't have anything in wrestling, you know?
I know. It's like, come on.
It's like the attention span is just not there anymore. And this is the kind of stuff that I feel like really hurts wrestling is like they want stories, but they're not patient enough to allow them to be told to them.
My question to you is, if Cody isn't champion, who do you want as champion? Because if they flip that title over to AJ, the same people have been like, why were we having AJ as a champion?
Right. I kind of feel like AJ is kind of like the guy who's been there, done it all, and he doesn't really need to be at the top. And we just watched Cody struggle for almost 2 years to get this one title reign, and they want to take it from him after like a month. Like you said, where would you go with it now?
Especially on SmackDown. Just look at that SmackDown roster. I mean, like, who do you have available to be the world champion that is not Cody Rhodes? I'll give you an answer. Nobody.
That's what I mean. I don't understand. I feel like everybody moves on so quickly onto the next. I get it. There's a lot of talented people, but not everybody can be champion. We got to chill and let somebody kind of collect their flowers.
Well, this has been your Radio Free Professional Wrestling reaction to WWE Backlash from Leon France. It is a must watch. I do believe that we give it 2 thumbs up, right, Ashlee?
Yeah.
So let's slide over to the control center.
This is your Radio Free Pro Wrestling Control Center. All the wrestling news you need to know.
And my first news story for you guys. Trevor Lee, the former Cameron Grimes, has made his first announcement for his first appearance post WWE, as he will be at Evolution Pro Wrestling appearing July 27th in Lexington, North Carolina. That has been reported by Freedom 4 Online. And I got to say, I am ready to see some Trevor Lee on the event saying this dude is going to burn it up just like Mustafa Ali, Matt Cardona. I feel like he has a chip on his shoulder and wants to prove some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of momentum in NXT for a bit. So it'll be very exciting to see what he can do out here on the Indies. Pretty excited for the first match we're going to see here, though.
Me too. It's really cool that he's going back to North Carolina, basically his center operation for this first reappearance as Trevor Lee. So I feel like that's a smart move. And we'll keep you guys updated as we get closer to the date of the event. On to my second news story. And this one kind of warms our heart, Ashlee, as Jeff Cobb is crowned the new NJPW TV champion after defeating Zack Sabre Jr. at the 2024. Sorry, David Bradley, but hey, Jeff Cobb with a title. Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. The man is a freak of nature. Absolutely. We kind of spoke a few weeks ago about like Matt Riddle having that championship and how quickly it went back to Zack Sabre Jr. and Matt Riddle walking out and everything. It's why I don't feel like it was kind of planned to immediately go back to Zack Sabre Jr. I feel like it was kind of like, well, we're gonna do this now because we have to kind of cut our losses. But to see somebody like Jeff Cobb, who has worked his ass off, has been consistent, is, like I said, a freak athlete, this singles run is going to be great. The match was fantastic, too.
Well, I will be watching this match later on this evening once we get done with the podcast. I can't wait. And personally, I would have had Jeff Cobb come out and just squash Matt Riddle to get his title like a month ago. But hey, we still got the outcome that I want. So hey, I ain't going to complain.
I'm in agreement with you there.
On to the third news story of the week. Okay, so we have Rey Fence was not clear to compete at the House of Glory Cinco de Mayo event this past weekend. reported by Fightful. We just want to wish Ray Prince a speedy recovery because we just got him back in AEW. And I can't believe, I want to see this guy do well. And this guy's so exciting to watch. And here we go again, Ashlee.
Yeah. I know this match was announced a few weeks ago, and then we kind of got his announcement very quickly and returned very quickly on Collision a few weeks ago. And he did have a pretty intense match with Beast Mortos, but this is again, like you said, like just another big loss and another big injury with another big AEW wrestler out. I'm hoping he won't be out too much longer. I feel like the amount and the severity of his injuries has kind of been pretty intense lately.
Well, we're moving on to our next news story as we see Ethan Page will be making his first post AEW appearance this May 17th at Dayton, Ohio for Wrestling Revolver. This one, we kind of heard rumors at the beginning of the year that Ethan Page and AEW were going to part ways. We haven't seen Ethan Page on AEW TV in a long time. And I got to say, they did a lot of disservice to Ethan Page and the Scorpio Sky. Men of the Year were one of my favorite tag teams, and they should have been a tag team champion at one point.
Yeah, it's something I don't understand because that's something that I don't feel AEW tried hard enough. I mean, there are a lot of people who say like, oh, well, they didn't get over. Well, they didn't get over because they were put in a program with literally and arguably one of the least popular things that ever happened in AEW and Dan Lambert and that whole association. I mean, you tied most of their partnership on being with this guy and kind of tied their TV time to being with this guy. And then when you had like their storyline outside of it, you kind of cut it off quickly. Scorpio Sky has been gone for a long time and off TV, kind of with sporadic appearances lately. And then Ethan Page went to ROH and started kind of doing something there. And then they just kind of like let him go. I feel like this might be one of the bigger ones that AEW should have capitalized on as far as like people that have kind of come through AEW. He just had a match with Kenny Omega a few months ago before Kenny Omega went out with injury. That was really good, was received really well, and then they did nothing with the momentum.
I get a feeling that we're going to count down the days until Scott D'Amore gets his Maple Leaf Wrestling up and running, and I got a feeling that I know who the first world champion is going to be, probably end up being Ethan Page.
It makes sense. It'd be a good. I think if that's the way Scott D'Amore is 100% going, it's perfect for him. And then Ethan Page being there would be a perfect addition and a great start to like the roster that he could build.
You can also see Ethan Page maybe go back to Impact Wrestling and join back up with Josh Alexander, and we have the North again as a tag team, and have them make a run again in the tag team division at Impact or TNA now.
Yeah, absolutely. There'd be no reason that he couldn't go back there, I would think.
Well, we'll keep our eyes and ears open as we'll see where Ethan Page goes next. We just want to wish him his best in his future here, post AEW.
Absolutely.
And because we are big Ethan Page fans, and we feel like AEW dropped the ball here.
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay, so my second to last news story is Michael Cole is stepping back from coaching and producing the WWE announcers. This was reported by PW Insider. Now, this was Michael Cole's choice as he's winding down his run as the lead commentator for WWE. And I gotta say, if it's his choice, that's cool. And I feel like, how many episodes we got left of Michael Cole announcing Raw or SmackDown? I just want to say thank you, Michael Cole, for like 20 plus years of professional wrestling announcing. And we got to the point where there's a generation who sees Michael Cole as the voice of the WWE. Let that sink in.
I know. I mean, he's been around since I was like 10. So I mean, it makes sense. Like when he does step back, it is definitely it's going to be quite a shift.
Yeah, the day that Michael Cole leaves WWE and we have a new voice on SmackDown or Raw, it's going to be some big shoes to fill. And I hope the WWE has somebody in waiting. I got to say, Vic Joseph may be that person from NXT that you can call up. I personally like Vic Joseph as an announcer, but again, that's awfully big shoes to fill. And just like Michael Cole stepping in for JR, and a lot of people at the beginning hated Michael Cole because he wasn't Jim R. Now the generation
Oh,
like
yeah.
we don't like this person because he's not Michael Cole.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a whole group of people who don't even appreciate Cole until he's gone.
Exactly. Just wait until post Cole and we get somebody that we don't like, and that little group of fans who totally hated and dissed
They're going
Michael
to
Cole
have
during
that.
his run are going like, we
They're
want
going to have
Cole.
that transition
We want Cole.
period. They're going to have that transition period like we did.
Okay, so my last news story of the week is the WWE did not renew the contract of longtime announcer and WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, and I learned about the story from the New York Post. It's kind of sad, but I understand why they probably didn't renew his contract as an announcer due to the health conditions that Jerry Lawler has been suffering over the last couple of years, and he's still recovering from that stroke. I'm just hoping that they have kept him on a legend deal because I feel like he's done enough service with that company that he should be a legend contract for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like they probably know that like there's no possibility of him coming back to do anything. Like obviously, like physically, there's no chance of him probably coming back to do anything on commentary. Like they're pretty full up, and they don't really have any need for him there for anything. So I could understand, but like you said, especially keep him on a Legends deal, especially with all the health issues he's been going through, it'd be something that could like truly help keep him afloat.
Exactly. We just want to wish Jerry King Lawler all the best as he keeps on recovering from his stroke. And that has been your control center for May the 6th, 2024. 6 days away from my birthday and 12 days away from Ashlee's birthday, as we are birthday buddies here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. So, my partner in crime, we are heading over to the stunning 6 questions of the week.
Time to ring the bell as Shawn and Ashlee debate 6 stunning questions from the week of wrestling. All the whys and what the hell was that?
My first stunning question for you. Did the WWE make the right decision by not renewing / releasing Drew Gulak from his contract? As this was a big deal in the post-scrum / press conference after Backlash, as a reporter asked Triple H about this situation, and Triple H kind of took this and led it into a diatribe about WrestleMedia and how it didn't get it right. Ashlee, to me personally, the idea of releasing and not renewing this contract is semantics. It's just the WWE spinning this positively, saying that this guy no longer is employed by this company.
Yeah. And I think like the Rousey allegations had something to do with it and all the spotlight that put on him. I think these kind of like post-release allegations that have sort of come out about him being a quote unquote bully have obviously maybe affected how people have seen him and maybe been a factor in why they decided to not renew. I feel like kind of in the wake of everything, maybe releasing him was just the right call. You certainly don't want those those allegations being kind of spotlighted with everything else going on. So maybe just for the best, you know?
Exactly. The only thing I would say here is I wish Triple H would have said, hey, due to the situations around this gentleman, we decided to release him from the contract here at WWE. And if you want to toss in, we wish you the best in your future endeavor, fine, Triple H. But he didn't really need to run the WrestleMedia down through this press conference and this answer here. That just got me wrong. It rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. I feel like maybe wrestling would be better off altogether without these post pay-per-view scrums. I feel like neither of the big companies here in America can handle it. I don't think we should be. I feel like after like Brawl Out, it should have been done for AEW. We should have stopped them. And I feel like maybe it wouldn't have enticed WWE to start them.
You know what? I second this motion. This motion carries no more post-press conferences for professional wrestling unless you're New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, because they get it. They're not... they understand the line, you know?
Okay, so we're moving on to my second stunning question of the week, Ashlee. And this may be a prisoner of the moment kind of question, but if you had to pick one crowd from Backlash, and I'm saying from last year in Puerto Rico or this year in Lyon, France, which one was better?
Recency bias. I'm going Lyon.
See, now I'm with you because I remember Backlash from last year, and we had the real hot moment of Bad Bunny coming out there for that match against Damian Priest, and that was super hot with that Puerto Rico crowd. I feel like that crowd couldn't stand up to this Leon French crowd, because as soon as Kevin Owens walked down to the ring to the time Cody Rhodes left the ring, they were full on 11. Triple H was showing pictures of his iPhone, giving him decibel warnings because the crowd was so freaking loud. And if you watch the main event, the camera is shaking because the fans are jumping up and down in that arena. You could literally see it during the match.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe it's not just recency bias then. I think I would have picked it regardless. I love what, like, that almost is almost like as half a big a part of the wrestling show as like anything else that goes into it. Like the crowd being receptive to everything going on in that way. It puts it on a whole nother level.
Well, Ashlee, I have this up on Radio Free PW on Twitter right now. We have 11 votes, and all 11 votes are Leon Fronts. You have 20 hours to have your say on Radio Free PW on Twitter. So all you Puerto Rico fans who thought that crowd was better, you need to start working because you're behind the 8 ball and you need to catch up fast. On to my next stunning question. And it's coming out of AEW Dynamite last week. We have a new number 1 challenger for Swerve Strickland. Pretty sure the rankings don't matter no more. We're just randomly picking people now. And I feel like this is actually just the Young Bucks deciding we're EVPs and we're cool. So, hey, Christian Cage, you get a title shot. Come on down. And by the way, I'm being facetious here because I'm happy. Christian Cage versus Swerve Strickland, double or nothing. Yes, please.
Yeah, I love this. Christian Cage, like if people forgot, like came out and reminded everybody about Wembley and being teamed up with Swerve and Swerve kind of taking the loss in that match. I agree. The rankings thing, whatever, just get rid of them. Let's just don't mention them ever again. Just forget it. And I think forget it because it allows for this kind of stuff where like, hey, we haven't seen Christian in a minute, and here he comes, pops back up as soon as Swerve wins the championship. Yes, history of Swerve. It makes a lot of sense. We all know how great Christian Cage is. We've seen him in a couple of championship matches, and he hasn't always lost them. So there's not like it's a viable, believable opponent for Swerve, I think.
And I love the fact that Christian Cage, during that promo, getting us introduced to him as the number 1 contender, he literally tied a lot of stories together because there's a lot of loose ends from that heel Swerve Strickland that Christian Cage kind of tied it in a nice neat bow. Like, hey, I didn't forget what you did to my son, Nick Wayne. This is for Nick. And oh, by the way, back at AEW in London, All Out in London, I was your tag team partner and you caused us to lose. I haven't forgotten about that. And your suffering is just beginning.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, a lot of good history to draw upon for them. And I think it'll this will now, I think, in that way, continue to push Swerve towards like being like the big mega baby face.
Exactly. See, this is just like Cody versus AJ Styles. This is AEW's version of that match because you have your new babyface champion. They need to face somebody who can afford to eat a loss and not let that loss affect their heat. Voila, Christian Cage, right. Your perfect answer.
Yeah, it's just a safe match, but a match that it makes sense. Like I said, there's history, and Christian Cage has more than earned a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, his TNT title run leads him to be a perfect number 1 contender for his AEW World title. On to my next stunning question, and it's going to be: did the WWE make a smart decision pairing Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill into this tag team? And the second part, Ashlee, what will you name this tag team?
Oh man.
Don't you just love when I drop these questions?
I don't know what I would. Yeah, I was going to say that wasn't part of the question you sent me. I don't know what I would name them, but I do think pairing them together was perfect, especially for Jade. We've kind of spoken about it, and even WWE has spoken about it a little bit, that we know she's not as experienced as some of the other ladies. She hasn't been wrestling quite as long. She didn't like grow up in it like a lot of, some people did. I would say some of the women did. Working with somebody who has adapted to it as phenomenally as Bianca Belair has, it is, I think, the right pairing for her. Like you were saying before, maybe some mishaps during the match this week, but like I still think like she is like potential that has not been unlocked with her yet, I'll say.
Well, see, me and Chris, when I was on Six Wins Media this past Saturday, as we were previewing WWE Backlash, we kind of brainstormed up and we came up with either the Stormbreakers or the Stormbringers for the tag team name. How do you feel about that?
I could see something like that. I feel like we have to get like EST or something in there somehow, though. They're gonna have to come up with something.
Well, they got to Friday night to come up with this tag team name for the new tag team champions. Now, me personally, I feel like this was like the best choice they can do with Jade Cargill. You pair her with a veteran. You limit how much time she needs to be in the ring. And like I said, all she needs to do is that hot tag, be at the heels, 1, 2, 3, until she gets over with the crowd. And Leon Prince was over with this Jade Cargill baby face comeback run that she did. And you guys need to watch this match to see why.
And I'll say this too. And it's not I don't want it to be construed as like a knock or anything, but some people are never going to be like people who are at the level of like, like 6-star, like, in-ring stuff, but they have the character, they have the charisma, they have the presence, and they have enough ability to do what they need to do. And it's not a knock, but that's sometimes all you need, like, to be like the biggest star in professional wrestling. Like, it doesn't always have to be, a 30-minute knockdown, 5-star, like I said, classic for it to be a great match.
Exactly. I mean, I grew up during a time where Bill Goldberg was the hottest thing in WCW. And really, a Bill Goldberg match was like 10 minutes, if you're lucky, 10 minutes, because they knew how to protect Bill Goldberg. He comes down the ring, he beats up the heel, he hits a jackhammer, he hits a spear, 1, 2, 3, you send the crowd home happy. So long as you protect the talent, you hide your weaknesses and show off what they can do well, i.e. what Paul Heyman's always said, is like you hide the weakness and show the crowd what this talent can do, because that's your job as a promoter. And I gotta say, so far in WWE, Jade Cargill is all systems go. Thumbs up, because I feel like they have done more with her in WWE and then AEW did in 2 years.
Yeah, they've already given her like more range of emotion, I would say.
We got to see her sell and have a comeback. I mean, I can't imagine that in AEW, actually.
She never really needed to come back.
Okay, touche. Fair point. Fair point, touche. On to my next stunning question. And this kind of pains me. Is it about time we retired this main event nickname for Jey Uso? Because this guy only has one big match win this year, and that's against his brother Jimmy at WrestleMania. And I was hoping, I literally, on that Six Wins Media pre-show, I had my hands up. I was praying to the gods above, Jey Uso, please win me the WWE title so I can win this contest. And it didn't happen.
I don't know. Like, I feel like he's definitely earned some sort of singles run. Even like his reception at the show was insane. The crowd is behind Jey Uso and has been for so long. And he's always like right at the cusp, and he can just never quite pull the trigger. If they're not going to pull the trigger on him in any sense, yeah, I think it might be.
Honestly, he feels to me, actually, like Lex Luger back in 1993 when they had the Lex Express. They had Lex Luger almost beat Yokozuna, but no, we can't beat him right now. They waited like a year to get that feud done and the title onto Luger. And that was when Luger wasn't as hot as he was the year before. And that's how I feel like Jey Uso right now. Last Saturday was a perfect opportunity to flip that title over to Jey. You had a way to protect Damian Priest from the loss. It wasn't a clean loss. His crew screwed up. He can go feud with the crew and come back to get Jey a rematch and him try to get his title back. So, but hopefully coming into this Raw tonight, we'll see Damian Priest come down to the ring and go like, Jey, you didn't get a fair shot. Those guys did not work on my behalf. We'll give you a rematch at the Saudi show. And I feel like we're going to get a rematch at Saudi Arabia. Jey Uso versus Damian Priest.
I could see something like that, especially kind of like you said with the slowly but surely like kind of face turn on Damian Priest's part.
I feel like that's the way we're going. And if you watched last week's episode of Monday Night Raw and this Backlash show, it feels like that way to me personally. We'll just have to wait and see. On to my next stunning question of the week. And my last stunning question. I saw this on Twitter over the weekend and it kind of annoyed me. There's a group of fans who feel like Samatha Irvin is annoying and she draws too much attention to herself as being the lead announcer for WWE. Personally, I like her style. It's different. And it kind of reminds me of Bruce Buffer back in the day when he had it's time to get ready to rumble. And he kind of accentuate that phrase. And in her case, she has a little bit different call for each and every wrestler. Like, it's Chelsea Green. And I'm doing a poor Samatha Irvin impression here. I'm sorry.
So, do you want the short answer or do you want the long answer? Are they wrong? Yes. You know, I see this conversation come up so much about like non-wrestling entities that are in wrestling, referees, ring announcers. This isn't anything new, anybody. Like, there have always been ring announcers. Tony Chimmel, what is he known for? The rated R superstar. Like, that's what he's known for. He's known for saying that because he had his own inflection and his own tone to it. It was never trying to draw attention to Tony Chimmel, you know, and no one ever accused him of doing that.
Honestly, Ashley, I feel like it's a double standard because, like you said, nobody ever gave him grief for going, it's the rated R superstar. Now, since it's Samatha Irvin, there's a group of people going like, no, we don't want that because that's different. And that's not like professional wrestling announcing. I'm like, who died and made them the lord and protector of ring announcing?
Truthfully, and like I said, I see like this conversation, like even like the referees, like Aubrey gets that from AEW a lot. Like, there have always been referees who have been front and center, like Mike Chioda, Earl Hebner, Nick Patrick, Charles Robinson. You know why I know all those names? Because they were part of storylines. They did things that they were involved in. They weren't just some like in the background bystanders that we didn't know and they only came out to make the count, you know, like they are part of the show as much as the wrestlers are sometimes.
Could you imagine going to a wrestling show and the ring announcer went monotone for every announced person coming down to the ring, and every time they announce a match, like, coming to the ring, Randy Orton, his opponent hailing from Green Bay, Wisconsin,
just get AI,
Mr. Kennedy. Like, that would be like wanting me to put a nail to my eye and sticking it into the eye. I'll be done with professional wrestling.
Yeah, no, I mean, you need those like it's part of like the showmanship part of it all.
Exactly. It's what makes us fans. It gives you that big match feel. And like I said, I love Samatha Irvin because she has different calls for different characters depending on what side of the coin they fall and how she feels about that character. And she's advancing the storylines. And I used to feel about these people by the way she's freaking announcing to people.
I like it. Don't hide how you feel about it.
Okay, so we're coming off my soapbox here on the 76 questions here for wrestling.
It's Shawn and Ashley's top 5 matches of the week. As they count down their 5 favourite matches from the past week, did your favourite match make the cut?
As we go on to mine and Ashley's favorite part of the week, it's our top 5 matches of the week. And Ashley, since I'm stepping down off my soapbox, do you want to go first?
So I started off with she's just so damn good. I can't get enough of watching her in singles competition. From Ring of Honor this week, we had Queen Aminata taking on Robin Renegade. Not the longest match, but the main event of the night. And Queen Aminata is this is like, along with like Athena and stuff, like no excuse to why they're not on AEW television consistently. Too good. And the way Queen Aminata has kind of come in and taken everything, I feel like, by storm. She needs to be, I see like what they're doing. They're working her back toward like Billy Stark. So I could see her possibly winning that title in the future. But I would love to see her on TV because the drop kick she does to downed opponent on the ropes is beyond crazy. And I feel like I haven't seen Robin Renegade in a minute. So it was nice to see her back in some singles competition.
Well, I love the fact that you picked this match. These two ladies are really freaking good, and they are the future of the women's division in AEW / Ring of Honor. I love the Renegade Twins as a tag team. When eventually they add women's tag team titles to Ring of Honor / AEW, they should be probably the first tag team to have those titles. And like you said, Queen Aminata ought to be on AEW Dynamite. She should be next in line for that TBS title. Or, hey, the AEW World title, the way she's going right now. because who has had a better start to 2024 than the one and only Queen Amiana?
Tough to think of one.
Okay, so I'm going to my number 5 match of the week, and it is from this past Friday night SmackDown. It was the opening match. It was the 8-women tag team match, as we had Team Bianca Belair. That was Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Bayley, and Naomi facing off against Damage Control and Tiffany Startton in Lyon, France. And it was just giving us a treat, like a sampling of what was going to come Saturday, because this crowd on Friday night was just as hot as the crowd on Saturday. And this match was the best match on SmackDown from the past Friday night.
I mean, how could it not be, really, with the level of talent?
Okay, this match proves that it says a wealth in the women's division in WWE when you could literally put these 8 women into one match. 8 women, one match. You could have like 4 different singles matches. You could have 4 different tag team matches here. The combinations you could come up with these 8 ladies, this alone, it's a division. And it's literally one match on SmackDown.
Yeah, like I said earlier, their women's division is kind of insane right now. Like, I feel like even a lot of wrestling fans that I see online kind of take it for granted.
I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on the WWE's women's division, and you really shouldn't do it right now because it is hot as hell. So we're moving on to your number 4 match of the week, and I'm going to co-sign on this because, hey, it's Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb. What can we say? It's a damn good match.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, Jeff Cobb, just a freak. So athletically gifted, it's unnatural, I think. In a match where he kind of just brutalized Zack Sabre Jr., who's seemingly dealing with some like a side injury of some sort. Zack Sabre Jr., as always, like the smoothest of transitions. Everything they did was very fluid, and especially like the transition into Tour of the Islands was crazy.
So I have something to look forward to once we get off the air here, and I'm going to go check this dang match out. Let's go down to my number 4 match of the week. Now, this literally came 1 week ago on Monday Night Raw. It was the opening match during the second night of the WWE draft. It's Gunther versus Xavier Woods, and it was a storytelling match where Xavier Woods was doing all he could, and Gunther got him into a submission after Xavier made a mistake, got his leg caught up in a rope, and Gunther is teasing Kofi Kingston. You want to toss this towel in. You want to toss this towel in. Xavier says, please, Kofi, don't do it. Kofi tosses the towel away, and Gunther changes to a different submission, and Xavier Woods unfortunately has to tap out, but it was like 15 minutes to 18 minutes of professional wrestling there on Monday night. You need to go back and watch it. It was a great match, and this shows how good Gunther is, and I got a feeling he's going to be the king of the ring coming out of this tournament. That's my pick right now.
Yeah, no, good opponent for him too, because Xavier Woods is a great opponent to make him look good, especially kind of with this like mega monster kind of persona he's kind of had since dropping the title.
Like I say, Xavier Woods is one of the most underrated singles wrestlers on the WWE roster, and I have watched this guy since his TNA days, and I gotta say, this guy is so freaking good. It's just, unfortunately, he's got pinned into his group where they're good hands, and I don't see a chance he ever gets a world title, but Xavier Woods as an Intercontinental or United States champion for a run, I love to see it.
Oh yeah, like a Intercontinental title run, especially. Like I would even, I don't think you necessarily need to turn him, but I would love to see Sami Zayn versus Xavier Woods for the championship.
That would be one fun match. So let's go over to your number 3 match of the week. And I got to say, I saw this match. It almost cracked my top 5, and I kind of feel bad I didn't do it.
I was going to say, ironically, in a match where the towel was thrown in. I kind of love it, though. I saw some people not like it. This whole storyline, though, has been very story-centered. Like, I feel like it's not been based on, like, the in-ring stuff. It's been based on the interactions between Toni Storm and Mariah May. But Serena Deeb and Mariah May, who's very quickly becoming, I think, my favorite women's wrestler on the roster, very good to lead up to Serena Deeb and Toni Storm. I love the way it's sort of flipped from Mariah May being very obsessed with Toni Storm to now it seems like Toni Storm has kind of caught feelings in her own way and is like sort of like obsessed with Mariah May. And even if it's almost to her detriment, caught like throwing in the towel for this match, she's like almost very protective now of Mariah May, where at first she was dismissive and didn't care. So I feel like it's going to kind of spiral Tony until she eventually loses this title.
Actually, when we saw this pair put together, we were thinking that eventually Mariah May would be the one to turn on Tony Storm. I got a feeling that you could turn Tony even more heel by her turning on Mariah May. I feel like the crowd would hate Tony Storm more for turning on Mariah May now.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling too, because I think kind of like week in, week out, the stuff with Mariah May has kind of won the AEW fans over. She's very good in ring. She's like funny. She has like a ton of personality, and I think seeing the way that Tony was treating her at the beginning has kind of like warmed fans up to her more than Tony at the beginning.
And with Tony, I feel like she's realizing that Mariah May is more of a threat than she thought she was. I feel like at the beginning she was going like, oh, how nice. I got a groupie. Okay, I'll let the groupie hang around me and have some matches. Wait a minute, this lady's a little bit more than what she seems to be. I get my AEW World Women's Championship. It may be in trouble. Do I want to face Serena Deebs or do I want to face Mariah May? Sorry, Mariah. Let me get Serena Deebs. And I'm a big Serena Deebs fan. And I'm happy for this match to be at Double or Nothing. But I feel like there's a story coming that Toni Storm took the one she thought she could beat.
Yeah, I think she did it more of in a thing to protect herself than to save Mariah. Okay.
That's how I feel. So let's move to my number 3 match of the week. And from here on out, this might be my love letter to WWE Backlash Leon France, because my first one up on this triple threat here is the world title match between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. And I gotta say, this was like 2.5 hours into Backlash. The crowd was still going strong. And just hearing the crowd sing Cody's song word for word, even when it went down and they're in the ring and they're still doing another verse of Cody's song, I was going like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And the crowd was just hype. Like I said, the crowd made the show like a must-see, and Cody and AJ put on a killer match.
I love that. That's like one of my favorite things that we've kind of seen in wrestling. We've seen it a couple of times, and I love when like it's kind of a testament to such a good entrance theme too.
Okay, let's move on to your number 2 match this week.
All right, let me switch back to mine. All right, so number 2. All right, so from Tentaku, Nick Nemeth, global champion, taking on David Finlay. I'm going to talk about the ending. So if anybody has not seen it and doesn't want to know how it ends just yet, I know it's pretty recent.
Okay. So spoiler alerts here for Ashlee's number 2 match of the week. Please flash forward 2 minutes into the future in 3, 2, 1. Ashlee, you may continue.
All right. So David Finlay has won his championship back. And I think one of my favorite showings for David Finlay. I feel like kind of last year he was struggling to find a place as like the leader even of Bullet Club War Dogs, and I feel like this year his performances are going to, I think, kind of quiet that a little bit. I think since the cage match, he's been kind of excellent. And I think Nick Nemeth is, I've said before, kind of one of the most perfect people you could work against. He's going to make you look, he could make us look like $1 million in the ring.
I remember when David Finlay lost his title, I was going like, why are they doing this to their top level foreign talent? I'm like going, why? And now I feel like maybe they just want to do a redemption arc, and we finally got to it with this show and him getting the title back from Nick. And I feel like this is this showing, maybe getting David Finlay more exposure and giving, like, he was a little too confident with the title. He lost it. Now he figured out how to get the title back. I can't wait to see this match. Just like the Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb. This is another match I will be checking out this week. Okay, so coming back from our spoiler alert here, on to my number 2 match of the week. Back from WWE Backlash, I'm going with the WWE Women's Tag Team title match. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill versus the Kabuki Warriors. Just watch this match for the number of combos these ladies put together and how amazing tag team offense can be. These ladies put together some great combo moves using both partners, And like I said, Jericho Carrillo had one of the best babyface comebacks in recent memory for me. And this match is a must watch in my opinion. And I may be biased because the one half of the new tag team champions is from the championship city of Knoxville. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe.
I hope the invigorated kind of spotlight on the titles too can kind of like, it's not to say like they haven't been with like women who aren't good. They have been. I just feel like the women's tag titles are very vastly underused and kind of underrated in use of like storylines and things like that. So hopefully kind of moving them on to like these big high profile women that like they've been pushing as like these that these faces of SmackDown and like everything like that. Like hopefully that means we can kind of have a more highlighted, like you said, like earlier, like even simple things like naming the tag team, like let's name this tag team, like let's do things like that and show we're committed to it.
Ashlee, in my personal opinion, this pairing is the best pairing they had for this tag team titles since Bayley and Sasha Banks. I mean, literally, it's been that long.
They are literally like spotlight magnets, and I was kind of just thinking they might be the first tag team to kind of put a spotlight on it since they essentially started the tag team championship division with those belts.
Well, we got our fingers crossed. We'll see how this goes in the weeks that come here on Ready for You Professional Wrestling. Let's move on to your number one match of the week, because it does have one of my favorite wrestlers in it, and I can't believe you have it this high up, but let's see why.
Brutal, that's why. Shingo Takagi and Gabe Kidd beat the absolute living hell out of each other for the Never Openweight Championship at Dontaku. Gabe Kidd's recent character developments with him being super angry at New Japan I like it. He is angry and almost like feeling threatened by all of these outsiders coming in and kind of getting in line and winning championships, and he's not making any bones about it. He has a match with Eddie Kingston coming up. He's made no bones about he did not care for Jon Moxley coming in and winning the championship. And he is channeling this, like, all this rage he has into it. And him and Shingo Takagi went out and, like I said, just chest, turned into hamburger meat, beat the hell out of each other. I'm very excited to kind of see where Gabe Kidd goes from here. Like I said, big match with Eddie Kingston coming up, and I think he has a shot of taking it.
Well, personally, I would like to see Gabe Kidd in the G1 tournament this summer. Have a good run. No, I'm not saying he has to win it. I just want him to have a good run. Get him to like the quarterfinals. Get him to the semifinals. Perfectly fine. But I gotta say, yet again, another match I'll be checking out this week, and my number one match of the week. I gotta say, I'm not usually the person who likes street fights. I'm not the person who usually likes all the punter and using matches, but when it's Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline, sign me up, because this was a fun freaking match.
I kind of had a little bit of everything. Debuts, plunder.
I mean, we saw tables, we saw chairs, we saw candlesticks, we saw Nick Aldis come out and go like, fine, you want to RKO refs? Let's just go ahead and make this no rules whatsoever. As the Prince said, let it be.
Sometimes you just got to call off the rules.
And that's why Nick Aldis is General Manager of the Year 2024 here in May of 2024. Okay, so that has been our top 5 matches of the week here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. Do yourself a favor, go back and catch them sometime during the week here. Ashlee, before we go here on this show, where can we find you on a super information super highway?
I'm on Twitter, and it's at groovy_ash_.
Okay, a few notes here, ladies and gentlemen. I will be appearing on the Smack Daddies podcast this Saturday for Sunday Night's Main Event Network, as me and Brad Dad will be reviewing this Friday's episode of SmackDown. Go over to SundayNightMainEvent.com to check that out on Saturday. Become a patron, $5 a month, get you a bunch of shows. They're friends of me, so hey, do me a favor, help my friends out. And while you're doing that, we do have a new Buy Me a Copy link here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. I will drop that in our show notes. If you have enjoyed Radio Free Professional Wrestling over the last couple of years, do us a favor and toss us a couple of dollars here and there. All money will go to the running of this podcast, simply from paying for our podcasting hosts, paying for our live stream through StreamYard, that kind of stuff. It's just stuff to keep us up and running on Radio Free Professional Wrestling, giving you the best podcast we can possibly be. Because, Ashlee, we are top podcasters doing top podcasting things and top podcasters out.
Christina here. On behalf of the guys, thanks for listening. Like the show, do us a favor and share it with a friend. Have a stunning question or just want to chat? Email it to the show at radiofreeprowrestling@gmail.com. Until next time, this has been Radio Free Pro Wrestling. Stay stunning.